I want to pin the bishop. I want to get my rook on the same file as his queen. When if my queen moves away, then this bishop is really going to be pinned. And even now, I'm perfectly. If the bishop moves, I'm perfectly happy because then I take, he takes, I take, and we trade off a queen and a rook for a queen and a rook, and we're trading off material, and that's perfectly fine with me. He plays rook h2. Again, still he's really focusing on that same plan. He's got this pawn under attack. He's got this pawn in his sights. Eventually, he might put the rook in. He might do a rook lift. He might move his rook to f3 and then to h3 and get two rooks on this file to overcome my knight. So far it's being defended, but not really for long. His queen eventually is going to come over, make its way over to this file, and maybe he plays his rook to g3 and then to h3 and then queen h2. He's going to try to come down the left side, unhampered by his pawns, because I was nice enough to have taken all of them off the board earlier in the game. I felt I had to play h5. Now, I knew that was a weakening move. There's no question when your king is in a castled position over here, what you really want to do is keep all your pawns as long as possible in their initial formation. It gives them a lot more flexibility, it doesn't create weaknesses that pieces can move into eventually, but I really felt that at this point h5 was the only way that I could prevent this intrusion of his major pieces coming down the h-file. See, now at this point, of course, this pawn is defended by two pieces. So even, let's say, for example, if this bishop was going to maneuver and sacrifice to take this piece, that wouldn't really hurt me because this knight is able to defend it as well. So at this point, this pawn is pretty stable, but he's going to try to avoid doing that. He moves his rook back to g2. Again, I opened up a weakness, and he's trying to take advantage of that weakness. What weakness did I open up? This pawn over here. This g6 pawn is now not nearly as strong as it was. It was defended by two pawns, now it's only defended by one pawn. And this pawn, if this bishop ever makes its way back to this diagonal, will be pinned against the king. So he wants to focus in on the weakness once again. Now I played knight g4. And at this point, I was actually, I was happy with myself. I'm sitting here, I'm even in material. And if you think about it, I'm threatening to trade off this knight for this bishop. I can try to force. I've just opened up an attack on this square over here. In terms of material, I'm looking pretty good over here. Really, my mistake, and this was another mistake eventually. The thing that I almost didn't realize, the thing that I almost forgot in this respect, is that I looked at this knight when I moved the piece, and I said, okay, it's defended. It's defended by the pawn. He can't take it. But that's not really true. He can take it. Yes, he would be sacrificing the exchange. He'd be sacrificing a rook for a knight, but to blow open this h-file is a small price to pay for, sacrificing the exchange is a small price to pay for him to blow open this h-file, which eventually I found out. But the thing is, what he wants to do is, he wants to open up the h-file. The problem is, at this point, he can't really do it. First, this knight is hitting on this square. This knight is hitting on the h2 square. And my queen's also hitting on the h2 square. So first, before he does anything, he plays bishop f4 to chase my queen off of this diagonal. This was a very strong move. This was a very strong preparatory move that I think was necessary for him to justify the sacrifice that he was about to make. So then I played queen d4 check. He plays king h1. I played queen takes b2. And I figured, wow, now I'm up a pawn. He has an extra minor piece, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pawns, and he only has 2 pawns. I figure if I can reach an endgame, and it's true, if I can reach an endgame in this game, I'm going to be in excellent shape. I've got 4 extra pawns now, and his only 2 pawns are isolated pawns. I have 2 isolated pawns also, but I've got a whole phalanx of very strong pawns that are completely unopposed on the king side of the board. So if I ever get this to an endgame, I'm going to win it. But, unfortunately, he had other plans. And he made the move that I just hadn't even thought of, because, unfortunately, you have to think of the other person sacrificing material. And he played, really, the winning move, rook takes g4. Now, he's won a knight. I have to take the rook. If I don't take the rook, maybe he retreats, and then he's won a knight for nothing. And now he's up by 2 minor pieces. And he's still got the attack going. So I play h takes g4, And then, although I saw it, there wasn't a whole lot I can do about it. He plays queen h2. Queen h2, threatening queen h7 checkmate. So I thought about it for a little while. There's really only one thing I can do to stop checkmate, and that is sacrificing the bishop. Bishop h6. Now remember, I got a rook for a knight, so now he's going to win 2 minor pieces for his sacrificed rook, because he can just come down and take queen take h6, and then I can move my queen back into the defense of queen g7. Now notice before, when this bishop was over here, it was blocking my queen from coming back. If my queen can never get back here, then he can't do anything, because he's only got 2 pieces focusing on this h7 square, and I've got the king defending it. And if the queen could come back here, then it could defend it. But in order to do that, first I had to sacrifice the bishop to get it out of the way. Queen take h6, queen g7. Now, if you look at the material, he's got 3 minor pieces for a rook, and I'm still up 4 pawns. So I figure I'm not in the worst shape in the world. He trades off the queens. Queen takes g7 check. I could have forced that anyway eventually, by moving my queen down here. King takes g7. Bishop takes e5. That's the thing. Again, the vulnerabilities, because of his tremendously well advanced, well placed pieces over here. The natural move when you first look at it is his f6. Forking, not only blocking the check, but forking the bishop and the knight. But of course, that loses right away. Think about if I play this. You see what he plays? Of course, he plays knight to e6, and then he's forked everything. He's forked my king, my rook, and my other rook. So I have to move king to h6, and then he forks my rooks anyway. Basically, knight take s7 check. I lose, my king and the rook are forked. I'm gonna lose a rook anyway, so I play rook takes f7 check, rook takes f7. I played rook d5. At this point, I'm kind of hoping for a miracle. He plays bishop to f4 check, and at this point I resign the game, just because of the fact that I obviously can't move my king up the board, because then he comes down here to h7 checkmate. I can move up, I can move the pawn up, and but I realize he's just going to move his bishop back. This rook is going to eat up these pawns. It may not eat up this pawn right away, but this pawn is going to hang. He's going to put the bishop over here. This pawn is going to hang eventually. I cannot make pawn pushes over here, which are my only 2 remaining extra pawns. From all those extra pawns that I had before, the only 2 remaining ones are these guys. And with 2 bishops, there's no way they're going to be able to penetrate, and so therefore I resign the game. But I thought this was a very interesting game. I think I let myself get backed up in the middle over here. With this file, I let him double up his queen, and his rook, pinning my bishop over here, and that really forced me to do kind of an unwise sacrifice. But still, even with my unwise sacrifice at all, I still could have won the game had he not seen the rook takes the knight over here, which sacrificed some material temporarily, but blew open the h-file for, where the whole game he was trying to come down the h-file, and he finally was able to do it by sacrificing a rook in exchange for a knight. Okay, so, I hope you've enjoyed this presentation. If you have any comments, please feel free to leave it. I hope to make more videos soon, and have a great day.